welcome to The Fandom Show, the podcast where we learn about fantastic fandoms by talking to our favorites about their favorites. I'm Kaya Green.
And I'm Stephanie Mallet.
And today we are talking about the transformative power of yes, followed by and. That's right, we're talking about improv. The irony being, I wrote that joke down before I said it.
But you did it right before you said it, so
true.
that's a little more in line with improv.
It was basically improv, yes. I refuse to prepare, I won't do it.
That's why we got into improv. Kaya, I mean, I think this is a topic we should be very forthcoming with our audience. We actually met because of improv.
Yes.
We both are improvisers.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, this is our background to some degree.
Yes, to some degree. So going into this episode, what would you say you know about improv?
How to do it.
Great.
Sometimes. The thing about improv that's wonderful is it's almost like a thing that you can never know everything about and never master because you're kind of only as good as the last one you did, right? So it's kind of this. What are those things that monks make that you then mandalas? Is that what it is that you then destroy?
I don't know.
Great. Well, this was a bad metaphor. It's very like it is an art form that is about reacting to your scene partner. It's a theatrical art form, I should add, if you don't know what improv is. And yeah, it's about making something up on the spot. But there's a lot of techniques and rules and things that you practice to be able to do that well. And I know some of those things. And a bunch of the people who do stuff in the scene here in Toronto. That's what I know about improv.
Amazing.
Steph, what do you know about improv?
Well, here you're going to find out some information about Steph. Improv is my job.
Yeah.
My job is improv.
Yeah.
I sell improv. I share improv. I help make improv. My whole job is improv.
Yeah.
So I know a fair amount about improv.
Yeah.
But I don't want to delve too deep into what I know about improv because our guest today is also someone who I work very closely with who also knows so much about improv, and I don't want to steal any of it.
Yeah, and it's not always about, us. It's about our fans and the fans we bring on here and how they care about it and how they interact with it. And so that's what we're focusing on.
So we're focusing on, who does know a lot about improv.
It's our guest.
Yeah. Well, that just took the steam right. That was some blocking.
I think you just said it.
No. No.
We're doing bad improv.
We're doing terrible improv. Our awesome guest is Alia Rasul, who is a Toronto comedian and the managing artistic director of Bad Dog Theatre. She's the co-host of a new podcast, Yeah, Sure, Why Not, and writer of 15 Ways My Dad Almost Died, which if you're in Canada, you can check out on CBC Gem.
It's super good.
She's also, this is not part of her bio, she's also just an incredible performer, has a group called the Tita Collective. She's multifaceted, multi-talented. Alia, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a bit nervous.
Why?
Because I feel like you both know more about improv than I do.
Absolutely not the truth.
But I love improv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I don't know. Now we're gonna put the knowledge to the test. How much about improv do I actually know, or do I just really love watching it, and that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I
Let's
think
see.
when we do the podcast, a lot of people come on like, I don't know everything about it, and we always say to everyone, you don't have to know everything about it. That's not necessarily how everyone loves the thing that they love. Like, I am not a person who knows a ton of facts about things, but when I love something, it's in every part of my body. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's an experience. The whole fan experience,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So let's pretend someone listening to this has never heard of improv. How would you explain what improv is to them?
Oh, well, how do we always explain it? It's everything you're about to see is made up on the spot, never to be seen again.
Yep.
So it's, as Kai said, a performance art, usually comedy. Mm-hmm. And one of the best things about it, it's ephemeral. So usually you have a cast of folks on stage and generally we'll ask a suggestion from the audience. So it's that cool thing is like the improv doesn't exist without the audience. Mm-hmm. Get a suggestion and then create something as a group on the spot.
Yeah.
I feel like people underestimate how much the suggestion really is a part of it. Because it's I think the way it was described to me when we were sort of coming up, because you and I came up in improv very, very similar times, I think, if I recall correctly. I remember people describing it as like, this is the backflip that you're doing. Like you're proving your trick. And that's what the suggestion is for. It's not that you can't make something up without it. It's that you're proving that you are doing this as improv right now. right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember this amazing improv show I know called Holiday, the musical.
We're laughing because we were in that.
They were in it.
They're in it. And I remember it was so good. The cast worked so well together that people left that show being like, that was scripted, right? That was scripted. So we had to go back and make the suggestion getting more obvious and say, by the way, this is improv, like throughout the show.
Yeah.
To remind people. Yeah.
Because when improv is done really, really well, it is really hard to tell that it's made up on the spot because people do such an incredible job of like embodying what they're doing. Obviously, there's different types of improv, and we'll get into that shortly. But it's always fun when people walk away going, "There's no way that was made up."
Yeah.
That's the best feeling.
I feel as though it has a lot in common with magic, which also doesn't get a lot of respect.
Magic is so cool.
But yeah, it is. It is the idea of people like trying to figure out how it's done when how it's done is mostly what you see.
Yeah.
Right? Like there has to be a trick to it. And it's like, I mean, there's techniques, but there's no trick. They're really just making it up.
Yeah.
Which I think when you really accept that makes it pretty incredible when it's really, really good.
Yeah. What's your origin story? How did you find improv?
Oh, well, a friend of mine told me that it was a really good way to manage a fear of public speaking. And at the time, I worked at a little-known coffee company. And I wanted to be like the company coffee nerd. And so I wanted to be the one to give the workshops about all of the coffee things, right? But my big problem was that I clam up. Like I really have like stage fright, and I still do. But a friend of mine was like, okay, well, you could either do Toastmasters or improv. Like those are two excellent ways to manage that. So I thought, oh, improv comedy that's too hard. So I went to Toastmasters. Then I just sort of like audited one, and then I realized it was a lot of work. Like you have to write a speech every time and then deliver it, and then someone counts like how many ums and uhs.
Oh no,
That
very
sounds
stressful.
like a nightmare to me.
Yeah, they're serious. They're serious. So if that's your vibe, go for it. But I was like, I cannot do that. So improv, which makes a lot of sense because I'm like, I don't want to prepare that much.
Yeah. That's what improv's good for, baby.
Yeah. And so I took one class and I really enjoyed it. Like, you know, I realized like, wow, it's just an hour every week where I'm playing games with a bunch of folks and we're making each other laugh. Then I took the next class and the next class, and then eventually I got on a show. And I remember, you know, in improv, usually at the end of the scene, at the highest, or like the biggest laugh we'll get will be like, is like the punchline. So the blackout line. Is that the term what we say? I forget now.
Or button.
It's the button, right? It's the button.
Or
And
blow line.
Well,
the blow line. Thank you. So, woof. So the blow line. So I delivered a line, and that's when the blackout went out, and I just remember feeling like euphoric.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was amazing, and I still remember that feeling to this day. And I think that's really the moment that I was like, I kind of want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
that's my origin story.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
It's a pretty amazing feeling, yeah. And I think like a lot of people can have access to that. Because I don't know about you, but that's one thing I notice people say about improv a lot when they come and see it is I could never do that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to people who have that sort of like, oh, you have to be too smart and too fast to do this?
No, you can. You can do it. That's so funny because like it is like magic, isn't it? Right? And so the cool thing about improv is the culture around it. So we're very lucky. We're part of this big improv community in Toronto.
Yeah.
But really, it's this global community. Like we're all connected, and the practice is you take classes and you learn from people who know more than you, and everyone's so generous with what they know. So part of the fun of getting into improv is really starting to love to learn the craft. And that's, I think, like kind of what happens. You catch the bug, then you get nerdy about who you learned something from,
Yep.
what skills you've learned from whom, which shows you've seen,
Yeah.
What format you've learned.
Yeah.
what format you've learned. But really, the entryway to that is like you just start with a drop-in class. You just try, because that's kind of the spirit of improv, right? You just you just start.
Yeah. You just say yes to it.
You just say yes.
And then
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that brings us to let's talk about like what are some of the fundamental principles of improv that make it work and make it more than just a bunch of people talking on stage.
yeah, like how does, if it's prepared on the spot, how does someone prepare for that?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's a lot of people ask that. Like, if it's all made up, then how do you rehearse for it? I
That is
guess,
a question that we get
Yeah,
a lot. It's like,
all-
how do you rehearse for improv when you don't know what it's going to be?
yeah, but that for me, that it's easy to compare it to like a sport, or like a team sport, especially. So you know what your plays are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you know sort of what the vibe of the game will be based on your opponent, or you know what their strengths are. So you kind of plan for that. So I guess like the first person, like we have to start with yes and obviously. It's learning what that actually means. So, oh my gosh, like I feel myself slowly becoming a bit more culty. Like there are so many layers to yes and.
I really peel it back. You should listen to me, a guru, tell you about it. You're not a guru.
No, like
No.
I really, I'm laughing because like I can already imagine myself saying this. But anyway, here we go. So, at its core, yes and is basically like you agree with something that like your scene partner has said, and then you just add to that suggestion. So, you know, you don't bring a whole house, you bring a brick. Like that's another phrase that we say. Like you just bring a brick and someone else brings a brick, and then together you're going to build a scene. But lately like for me, the more I reflect on yes and it also means that like whatever you have to offer is a gift,
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know. So like if you even bring that in life, like there are a lot of principles, especially that yes and that like if you bring it back to your own life and sort of how you move through the world. We have a lot of people who are like self-conscious all the time about what they do and just always second guessing about the things that they do. If you just sort of like remember that like whatever you're doing is a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
So chill.
And you bring your own perspective, and you like your perspective is only your that's what you have to bring, and it's special and it's important and it's unique to you, and that is a gift that you're bringing. So if you're trying to be, you know, I can probably speak for all of us that when we were learning improv, you'd look at people in the community and you're like, I want to be that person. I want to be just like that person. But they're that way because of their perspective, their experiences, their background. And what would make you special on stage and the gift that you bring is bringing yourself, not trying to be someone else.
Yeah, and it's also like the building block for the process. So the most important part about improv is the process. Otherwise, it would be called like this whole thing. It's not capital T, this whole thing. It's yes and like we all watch people like get in the process of creating this awesome story in front of us. And whatever, if it's funny, it's funny.
Yep.
You know, if the relationships, if it's a dramatic thing, if it's like a beautiful story about two people, then so be it.
Yeah.
But the important thing is, I think it comes from a true place. And that's sort of what's really, really unique, because like you have so many people on stage bringing in like their different perspectives, creating a cohesive piece in this moment in time, and we're all just watching it happen. Yeah, it's like magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't work all the time, but when it does work, it's incredible. And when it doesn't work, it's also incredible for its own different reasons, right?
I think part of what watching improv, especially live, like obviously now we're getting to things like dropouttv, where people are getting more understanding and experience of watching improv.
Yeah,
but when you're
totally.
live, part of, I think, the reason for such big laughs and the like tension of the audience is you're watching someone on the edge of a pin and they could fall at any second.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do. And you watch it happen. You're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And it's like watching sports. Like
Yeah.
improv is like sports.
It's a tightrope walk for
Yeah.
sure, and like if the audience doesn't feel that tension, then it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Right. So you always want to be in that place. But it is that agreement that I think makes it fundamentally interesting when a whole group of people seems like they're on the same page, because like. It's not fun to watch people argue. It's not fun to watch people disagree with each other. We think that it is because of, I don't know, reality TV and other various conflict-driven entertainment things. But it's way more fun to watch people play together and enjoy each other. And yeah, that idea of yes and can build whole worlds really, really fast.
Yeah. Or even just like a good conversation on a first date.
Totally. Yeah.
Like honestly, now that like I've gone through many years of improv and I'm around people who are improvisers and have embodied this yes and I'm spoiled for people who like know how to have a good conversation.
Totally.
So I've been on a few first dates recently where I'm just like on the other side of the table being like, this person is blocking me, which is like the opposite of yes and
Yeah.
when you're not, when you're not agreeing to what I say and you're not adding anything.
Yeah.
So I had one person, one person, I remember going on a date with a person and I'd say something like, oh, the sky is blue. And they'd be like, actually, it's cerulean. I'm like, great. And then no
End of
follow-up
sentence.
question.
Cool.
End of sentence.
Great.
No follow-up question.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Where do we go from here?
Oh my God. It brings me to, I was going to save this question for later, but it just brought me to the idea of like, improv is often used as a thing for the stage, for performance, but there are so many things in improv that I think you can bring into your regular life. Are there things from improv that you've been able to like use in your life, in your day-to-day?
Oh God, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everything. Because at the end of the day, so a lot of people come to improv, not necessarily to become a performer.
Yeah.
Obviously we sell classes like improv for business.
Yeah.
And improv for...
And the goal of this is this isn't a commercial for improv because
It is.
you like it. Okay. Yeah. But I think the idea is just like there's magic there that we're sharing.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, you learn how to listen well in order to receive someone's like offer, their end or their gift. Like you have to really listen to like what they're saying and how they're saying it, and also like the context in which they're saying it. That makes you become like a really good listener. And if you're someone who's doing improv right now, you're someone who's doing this like every day. That's practice.
Yep.
So that's drilled into you. So I find like people who really, really embody this are just like the best people to like collaborate with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make the best teammates. You are able to have more challenging conversations. I actually am really lucky. So within the improv context, which is, I guess, like the comedy scene. So talking a little bit like industry wise, a role that I've played was a role that I've played is like I'm the PC police, like the DEI, which is I guess kind of hot topic right now. But a lot of the conversations around DEI, especially when we were coming up, like I guess it would be like 10 years ago now,
Something like that.
yeah. Those are tough conversations, but I'm lucky because I know the person. Even though our views on the world may be different, we both have the skills to listen to each other, which has been like, that's the game changer. Oh. So, yeah. So I think just like listening like in every way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I also think it's so good for not fearing mistakes, because that's the one that I really struggled with before coming into improv, and it's the one thing that I notice a lot of people, when they say I can't do improv, that's what they're worried about is
Yeah.
I would say something stupid or I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what improv teaches you to do. It's not teaching you to think of something smarter, faster. It's teaching you to say the first thing and make it work.
Yeah.
And not be so afraid constantly that the thing you say is going to be wrong, because the whole thing in improv, right, is nothing is wrong,
Yeah.
right?
It's just an offer.
Yeah, exactly. And like even if somebody says what color is that dog and you say green, yeah, for sure there's no green dogs in the real world, but there are in this one.
But then you get to justify also, why is it green? Is it just that dogs are green in this world, or is it that your friend dumped paint on the dog?
And so it's not even just that there are no mistakes, but mistakes are actually a gift. The more mistakes you make, the funnier the scene gets. The more you're right and correct all the time, the less interesting everything is, right?
Yeah.
So that I think, like, there's a reason that improv for anxiety is such a big thing.
Yeah.
I think that's just such a huge, like, real world skill that, like, everybody can use. It's just like, don't stress so much about getting everything right all the time.
Because guess what? You're going to get it wrong. You're going to get things wrong.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And when you just learn to fail joyfully, man, the world gets so much easier in your day-to-day interactions where you're like, yeah, I'm going to look dumb sometimes. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not who you are.
Yeah.
Like, your mistakes are not who you are. It's just how you learn to navigate them. That's my favorite thing. Whenever someone asks me about, like, what is the thing that I'm taking away from improv, it's like that it's changed my relationship to failure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and, like, again, to be very DEI about this, right? So improv, like, it helps if you're someone who has a lot of confidence, for sure, performing improv and comedy in general. It helps. Or if you're someone who's really good at, like, small talk. But, like, if you're someone who kind of grew up a little bit shy, or you've sort of internalized that, like, oh, you're not going to talk unless you're spoken to, or, you don't really, like, you don't realize, like, your opinion really matters. Improv, doing that kind of thing is really, really hard. And it took me a few years doing improv, but I will say it kind of it changed. Like, it showed me that, like, yes, what I have to offer, my end matters. It doesn't matter what I say, whether it's wrong or right, as long as it's, like, a true reaction to what's already happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if I say the wrong thing, my teammates are going to say something cool that will justify it. It'll make it really, really funny for everyone.
Yeah.
Or we all go, that was a weird thing. And then we all laugh.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's funny to say weird things.
Yeah, I mean, also just, like, failure is valuable in and of itself. Like, if
Yes.
you've ever been on a creative team, like, if you're not willing to make suggestions, like, I can speak from writers' rooms, but obviously this applies to anything that is creative or collaborative. If you're not willing to throw out a bad idea, you're never going to throw out a good idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Whoa.
Whoa, man. I just made that up.
On the spot, yes, and.
But yeah, it's what I tell people when they ask how to get into writers' rooms or what makes somebody good in a writer's room. I'm always like, well, obviously being a good writer, but seriously, go take an improv class, because, like, I'm very comfortable sitting there being like, how about this idea? How about this idea? I'm well aware some of these are stupid.
And you also, it stops you from getting too precious about it, so that
Exactly.
you get hurt when
Yeah.
you throw it out and someone says no, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, like
my
sitting on your
guts.
one idea for an
Yeah.
hour and then saying it, and somebody's like, nah, and then you're like, well, I'll never speak again.
Well, I guess I'll
Yep.
never do this for another day in my life.
Yeah, for sure. I remember one of my teachers at Second City saying, just fail more, fail faster.
Yes.
That's how you get better at anything.
I
Yeah.
love it. So you do stand up, you do sketch, you do improv. A lot of people don't know that they're different, and we can talk about that. But what do you like the best out of those, and why?
Oh, yeah. What do I like the best? I mean, all three things have their thing. They're such different art forms.
Yeah.
First of all, Okay, everyone, improv and sketch are not the same, okay?
Nope.
They're not.
Improv,
They're not skits.
They're not.
None of them are skits.
They're not good.
Please, if you ever meet an improviser, never call their thing a skit.
Yeah, you should.
It hurts our soul.
You should know it's a weird pet peeve that any and all improvisers have.
And sketch comedians.
Yeah.
None of them are skits. SNL is not a skit show.
Yeah, a skit is something you do in your workplace safety video.
It's.
Unless you hire someone to make you a sketch in that video.
I will say though, these days I'm like, oh my god, I just want people to come out to shows. That whenever I hear someone say skit, I go like this. It's okay. It's fine. They appreciate the work. They don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But PSA, it's hard for us to hear, so please support us. Support our emotional
Support your
health.
local comedian.
Yeah. So what do I like the best? I mean, like, obviously, we're here to talk about improv. I love improv. Improv is my favorite thing about improv is the community. It is a practice. So, like, for people who have, like their yoga practices and their wellness practices, it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
It's kind of like that, and the community is so nerdy and so into it. So that's my favorite thing about improv. Stand-up is cool because if you're someone like me who is sometimes, I'm just like afraid to share my ideas and opinions sometimes. Like, it's something that I internalize over years and years and years. Stand-up gives you an opportunity to just sit in those ideas and really write them out and then really work on the material over and over again. And then sketch is like, I don't know, I guess a little bit of both. It's also still kind of like a team sport. But you get to, it feels a little bit more theatrical, and you can do wild things because they're planned. So I love them all. I love stand-up because I can be very precise about, like, what I'm trying to say. So to perform, like, I love stand-up, but to watch, I love improv.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like like exactly what you said, like someone sort of like doing that tightrope walk, and then knowing, like, the audience knowing what they're trying to do, and then you can also kind of feel that the performers aren't sure if they're going to do it,
yeah.
and then they do it. It is a phenomenal feeling. It's one of those things that I always think about. I read somewhere that if you gather in a space, like in a theater, like, all of your heartbeats, like, become synchronized. Whoa. So it's one of those cool things that that kind of maybe biologically shows that humans are meant to gather in community. But it feels like that, like, when we're all laughing at the same thing as they're discovering what the story is. Like, I saw a show last week. So you know Hamilton the musical, right?
Familiar.
Heard of it.
Yeah.
So this show is called Not Hamilton. So they basically took the tracks of Hamilton and for 30 minutes wrapped, like, a fully improvised new play on top of them.
That's wild.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they did not stop rapping for 30 minutes straight. And, like, I remember the entire crowd just, like, my jaw was on the floor the whole time. The entire crowd had their hands balled up, or just like,
Are they going to do it? Are they going to do
are they
it?
going to do it? And when they did it, like, I've never seen a crowd, like, stand up on their feet so fast. I never do this, but I was like jumping, trying to hit the ceiling just because, like, I didn't know how, like, I just wanted to express more love. But like, I've never done that for any other kind of theatrical performance, though they're good. But improv will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this, like, excitement, that, like, live action kind of energy.
Yeah.
I think one thing's so interesting about improv, whether you've seen it before or whether you know improv or you're, like, have taken classes, I think that feeling is the same across the board. If you're an improviser and someone else is knocking it out of the park, it's astonishing. You can watch a person, like, you see them, they're sent towards the joke or the bit, and you're like, do they have it? But then you can see in their eyes when they do right before, and you're like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. Ah!
Yeah.
Like watching someone do a layup for a basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching, it's like the whole show is like that 3-pointer shot, like, at the buzz.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the one
Totally.
that wins the game. the whole show is just that.
When it's good, when it works,
When it's good,
right?
Oh yeah, when it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one thing that it should be said, because I think a lot of people, when they watch improv for the first time, they are seeing their friend's student improv show.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's like that. I think it is really the difference between watching Pee Wee hockey and watching like the Olympics. That like if you're like, wow, I've never enjoyed improv even close to as much as these people seem to enjoy it, do yourself a favor of going out and watching a really professional show, if you can, or watching some like real experts do it, because it is very different.
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you're like, I need to know what is the improv I should see in my city, send us a message.
Yeah.
We'll tell you. We'll
Yep.
find out. And if we don't know, I'll find it for you.
Yep.
Because I think, a lot of people, this is very common. Because I also made my family come watch my early student shows. And now
Totally.
they're like, I don't want to come to your improv shows.
Absolutely.
Tell me when it's a good one. It's like, they're all good now. Oh, come on. But I guess, what would you say to someone who's like, improv is cringe? Because I think that's a sentiment I feel a lot from people. It's like, oh, I do improv. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
no.
I feel like it ranks just below magic and just above mime.
Yeah. Yeah.
For,
I
in
don't
a
know.
lot of
I think
people's
it's on par
assessment.
with magic.
Yeah, you might be right.
But I think
That said, I like both magic and
I know,
mime.
me too. I like them both so much.
They
Yeah,
both take a lot of skill.
They're awesome. Like, what? Do you hate being entertained? Improv? What? No, but if someone came up to me and said improv is cringe, or actually, who said this?
Was it me?
No, someone said like, I'll watch any comedy show as long as it's not improv.
Yep.
Yep.
I would just trick them and take them to a improv show.
Just tell them the tickets for sketch.
I really like it. It takes one good improv show to really like, it makes a case for itself.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. Like a friend of mine had a ticket, like a free ticket to a show, and I was like, sure, I'm not doing anything. And it was it's a show in Toronto called Catch 23, and or was it Theater Sports? Also a show in Toronto. Either way, similar shows. And I remember, like, I think to win the Catch 23, to win the show, Kirsten Rasmussen had 1 minute left, or was it like even shorter than that, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Right, and she managed to choose the most perfect thing in that 30 seconds that tied together the whole show. And I'd never seen anything like it, because in my brain, I'm like, I don't know how your brain went there. My brain would never. And it changed my life. And that's why when I was like, when my friend was like, you should try improv, it wasn't that hard to really consider it, because it was magical.
Yeah.
So just watch, just watch a really, really good improv show. There are plenty.
There are plenty. Okay, that brings me to, there's a lot of different types of improv. So people who might know about dropouttv, it's very popular right now.
Or even things like Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's where most people, I think, get their access to improv.
Yeah, and we know that type of improv, primarily a short form. Can you explain what's the difference between that and, say, like a long form improv, which is what a lot of improv companies also do?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like it's not to get into the nuances. Like maybe the basic way to understand it is like a short form improv. Short form improv tends to be limited to a scene. So it's like a sketch. The length of the sketch. So it's a scene, and that scene could be just like, oh my God, I'm like, don't get into the nuances.
You can get into
Or do.
nuances too.
That's the point.
So okay, so but it's a scene. So like let's say it's like about 4 to 5 minutes, and then long form improv is a series of scenes that are tied together by a theme or by a narrative arc. And so I think the difference is length of time.
Short versus
At the
long.
very basic,
Yeah.
short versus long.
Yeah, it is.
Usually, short form will have like a game
Yeah,
format.
often
Yeah.
we'll have
Yeah.
games.
Yeah,
That's
so like
how we refer to them.
Yeah. So like, whose line is it anyways? Like the most famous example of improv.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's again like the point is beautiful scenes, but then like they'll add parameters on it just to make it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's a little bit faster
Yeah.
in a short form.
Yeah. It's like track and field versus a team sport, kind
Yeah.
of. It's like here's a bunch of little events over the course of one show,
Yeah.
Yes.
where you're going to have to try and like achieve certain things.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
That's
Yeah.
a good way to put it.
But I think that they are for very different purposes, right? Like that you'll get different things out of those two different shows.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. Like, I mean, long form is kind of like watching a play.
Yeah.
Like, that's the goal of
Yeah.
it. That you're tying together. Like, you have like your beginning, middle, and end. Acts 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, and then long form, obviously, there's so many ways of doing long form, but they could be tied together thematically, so a theme. And so you could have many, many scenes and many, many characters that are just related to like this big, big theme. And so it's kind of like peeling an onion, I guess. And then a narrative format, which is just telling a story.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, kind of like the goal of that is like a TV show or play.
Yeah.
And then, the most famous Harold.
Yeah.
Harold, that's the one people will have heard of. Like, that's like, that one is like the most like a TV show. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It's often compared to like the format of the that you try and achieve is often compared to like an episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Classic sitcom.
That's-
You have your A plot, B plot, C plot.
Yeah.
And then
They're
they
separate,
integrate
they-
over the course of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kind of formats create like a skeleton for your show over the course of an hour, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Formats.
Formats.
That's what we call them.
We call them on the inside. Now you got the insider lingo when
Yeah.
you go to your first improv class.
Yeah.
Like, I know about formats, and your teacher will be like, okay,
Yeah, that's true.
stoked for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a big believer that improv is art. I mean, I'm also a big believer that improv is art. But what are some of the extraordinary improv sets that like really convince you that this is not just for the sake of a couple of laughs, but that it is truly an art form?
Oh, I mean, not Hamilton. I'll say more about that because it's really, really top of mind. One of the wildest things about that set was that they had never done that format before.
Whoa.
And
Damn.
they weren't sure if they were going to do it, if it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I love the thought that the performers, I mean, because it also is true that you're just like, I don't know if this works. Let's give it a shot together in
Yep.
front of an audience.
Yeah, because like when you're like musical improv is a whole other thing. Oh my gosh! But like when you're rapping, you don't even get really the benefit of like going at your own pace. You
Yep.
have to honor the pace of
The track
the
behind
track
you.
behind you. So, so the fact that they were able to do that, and also, so the story, the suggestion was Popeye. So instead of Hamilton, it was Popeye.
Okay. Amazing.
The fact that they had all of the relationships fleshed out and all of the motivations of every single character fleshed out.
Oh my God.
And they had a narrative arc that's bananas. Like, how does a brain do that?
I'm just now thinking of trying to in any way make up the lyrics for something like Satisfied. And I'm like, that is such a fast ass song.
No, because like we already with things like patter songs and like a musical improv that's not rap is already so hard because your mouth is going before your brain.
Way before your brain. You are like putting down tracks
Yeah.
like behind the train.
But then you get like Guns and Ships from Hamilton,
my
which
God.
is the fastest rapped song ever, the fastest song ever done lyrically on Broadway. Like, what?
They did it.
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
They did
I'm
it.
losing my mind.
They did it. And another thing that elevates that is we have a member of the cast called the technical improviser, that's another layer of how beautiful a show can be, is the lighting design and well, the music design for that show is,
was
is
different.
pretty set.
Yeah.
The lighting design is also improvised because, so you're just following in the back, trying to create beautiful stage picture. So like a quiet moment will just have a perfectly placed spot. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Y'all,
And
when you're seeing comedy shows, if you don't realize how much work the tech is doing for an improv show, that person is very rarely gets as much credit as they deserve. Stage people will go, give it up for so-and-so in the booth. And people are like, yay, clap. You don't even know. You don't even know how hard that is.
Yeah, because
It's magic.
Because like a really, really good show and a really, really good tech is like they've done their job if you didn't notice.
Yeah. And you notice when when a
Yeah.
mistake has happened or a thing has been dropped.
Oh,
The same
yeah.
way you would if someone on stage fumbled a punchline or something like that. Like you feel it.
Yeah. I used to do improv tech at Bad Dog when there was a space, and oh man, when you get a cue wrong, you really feel it. You feel it really bad.
Yeah.
But man, when you get one right, and one person in the audience turns towards the booth and points at you,
Does a thumbs up.
you feel like a god.
Yeah.
Oh, truly.
One person catches like a good needle drop or something, you're like, yes, I did do that.
You go
Thank
see an improv show, you go say thank you to the person in the booth. I can't, I'm not a tech. I've tried it maybe once. It's so hard.
There are like
I have
3
nothing
people.
but respect for techs.
Yeah, there are like 3 people in Toronto that do it really,
Yeah.
really
And
well.
now any improv show you go, that person is a friggin' hero. You thank them.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Obviously, there are a couple of famous improvisers.
Who?
And we can talk about them, but also let's talk about some of the people who sort of started in improv and might not be there now, like some of those famous names, right? Because like people like Tina Fey is a big one, but also like Stephen Colbert, a lot of the Second City folks. Like, can you tell us a little bit about those people?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, Micah Myers.
Yeah,
Micah Myers.
Mike Myers. I mean, all of them, right? Like
You
At
like
least
Eugene
in
Levy?
comedy.
in comedy.
That guy.
Yeah.
Those eyebrows started in improv.
Who?
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy. It's true.
Those glasses are improv glasses.
It's true. Wait, do we have like other like Keanu Reeves is the best example of a dramatic actor who started in improv.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else?
I'm sure there are other ones.
Yeah.
But I don't think they publicize that part of their background a lot. I think a lot of theater folks will do it at some point.
Yeah.
But you just hear about it more in their story when they're a comedian, like Catherine O'Hara or something
yeah.
like that,
It's
Parker Posey.
It's because they write it into the scripts to rip on improv every time they're an improviser.
Yeah, but then every time though, like you see a press run and everyone's always impressed when someone's like, that scene was improvised.
I know.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Always,
So funny.
always.
Yeah, people love improv when it's in movies.
Yeah, it's
When
like,
someone has used it to do something, but
Yeah.
the idea of improv, they're like, oh, I couldn't possibly.
yeah, but like every single press run, like that really impressive scene, he just improvised that line.
Yeah.
Every single one.
That's
So,
why we
funny.
hired him, because he was really great at improv.
Yeah. So
You already love improv if you're listening. You already love it.
yeah. So who else? Denzel Washington.
Actually?
I don't know.
Robin
I'm
Williams.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, Robin
Robin
Williams is a
Williams.
big one and was a dramatic actor
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, on top of being a comedian.
I imagine when he was doing the genie, I don't think any of that was scripted. I think that was all just off the top of the dome.
I can't imagine how they would script
How
anything
would you
for
script
that
Robin
man.
Williams? Yes.
I heard like editing his films is quite a trip because
Oh.
he just creates so much material.
Yeah.
I believe it. I mean, I also heard a story once about Billy Crystal in Princess Bride.
Yes. Yeah.
Where the scene where he's in the cottage with the characters, they had to
Miracle
shoot,
Max.
Yes, Miracle Max. They shot it for 3 days of him just improvising, and the only injury sustained on set was Mandy Patinkin trying not to laugh at Billy Crystal.
Yeah, didn't he hurt his
He
rib?
broke his rib.
Trying not to laugh
Yes.
at Billy Crystal.
Yeah, and just because, and all he did for 3 days was improvise and try and break every single person, which he successfully did. It's like,
Absolutely.
that's incredible.
Yeah. But there's also like Tatiana Maslany is
Oh,
an
yeah, that's-
improviser,
yeah,
a
that's
Canadian
Orphan
improviser.
Black.
Orphan Black. She played 6 different characters. I don't think she could have done that if she didn't do improv.
Okay. Also, Elliot Page, one of their films is fully improvised. No.
What?
Yeah, is that the film that he did with local Toronto improviser Andrew Bushell?
Andrew Bushell,
What?
yeah. I thought so. Which film was that?
I don't remember the name of it.
I don't remember
But
the
yeah, they
name.
did a film together. Yep, that's absolutely one of them. And like even people like Ryan Reynolds started an improv. Seth
Yeah.
Rogen started an improv. Like a ton of people, and some of them you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, you would expect that.
Yeah.
You would expect that.
And of course, Colin Mockery.
Colin
Oh.
Mockery, the greatest improviser of all. What? I had nothing else. That's it.
Just of all.
It's just a
Just of
statement.
all.
Still so involved.
Still
Yes,
so involved.
Still so
Yeah.
involved.
Well, I think that speaks to the spirit of a lot of improvisers, which I think touches back to your talk about the community of just, it's a bunch of people who are so game, who are so game and so generous with each other. That spirit, you know, he's arguably the most famous improviser that I can think of who's known for improv, but still like will come out and share his gift with, you know, the local community. Often he's very generous. We'll do like shows all the time for fundraisers. You
Yeah.
know, he came to a fundraiser that we did for, it wasn't even a fundraiser. We were just like, it's the end of the thing,
Yeah.
but also we're a charity, help us. And he was like, I'm suddenly out of nowhere auctioning off a lunch with me. And we were like, what the hell? And he's like, is that okay? I'm like, yeah. I mean, is that okay with you? I didn't want to ask, but like, it's a very generous spirit a lot of improvisers have,
Yeah.
which I think is really special. And it makes them better performers, makes them better people to work with. I think everyone should take improv.
Yeah. And also going back to like, oh, improv is cringe. A lot of stand-ups will make fun of improv. But you know what's so huge in stand-up right now?
Crowd work.
Crowd work.
That's just improv.
That's just improv.
It
Like,
is-
let's just call it what it is, stand-up.
It is very, very funny when they. I had never thought about that, but that is extremely funny.
The skill that they're displaying is so how quick on my feet I am.
oh my God.
If I could just, you know, do some, I don't know, what's the word for it? If only there was a word for it.
What if I just said the just like such like the right thing in response to an audience's suggestion?
Okay, on that note, can we talk for 1 second? This is me just fully diverting to for people who have seen Drag Race, and
Oh, God.
and the way
Okay.
they talk about improv. Have you seen Drag Race at all, Alia? And have you noticed how RuPaul talks about improv?
A lot?
Yeah, a lot, but like also incorrectly.
No, wait, what? Catch me up.
RuPaul always tells them that you have to say yes.
Yeah, improv is just saying yes.
End of sentence.
And it wasn't until season 12, shout out to Queen of all queens, Jackie Cox,
Jackie Cox,
who was the first person to be
"And."
like, it's yes, and this is what you're trying to do. 12 seasons.
12 seasons.
Of performance challenges where RuPaul's just like, all you have to do is say yes. Anyway, good luck.
Yeah, and also
Don't fuck it
specifically
up.
is like, and don't forget you have to volley, not a thing in improv, in
Nope.
case you're wondering. Volley is the thing that you have to be able to volley, is what he says. And the other thing is, and you have to be funny, which I think
Yeah.
is ultimately the worst thing to tell someone before they improvise. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. But because like, what does it look like if we just said yes? Right?
Yeah.
So
It's like, okay, would you this thing I'm holding in my hand is a coffee.
you're right. It's a coffee.
It's a coffee.
And scene.
And scene.
Blackout.
Perfect. That's yes.
That's
yes.
RuPaul's
We did it.
improv race right there.
Yes, it's a coffee.
Yes, it's a coffee.
And I love that you brought it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's a scene. It's so simple, but you can build so much with just a simple and.
Yeah, it's just so funny. I love it so much. It's one of the only places I see anybody talk about improv, and for some reason he
Incorrectly.
manages to do it wrong.
Jackie Cox, I loved you before that moment, but man, you should have heard us scream in our house when you said the word and. My God.
It's like the deep cut nerd
I am
shit.
a lifelong
Nerd.
fan of yours now because of this. Thank you. Also, come to Toronto, be in a show with me.
Please.
I love you.
Okay, so here's a question that is a little less of a diversion. This is from Adam on Patreon. When I was in school 20 years ago, improv seemed to be nothing but douchey, exclusive bros.
Okay.
Now improv
Wow.
seems like one of the most inclusive and supportive communities. Has there been a genuine change over the last few decades, or was I just exposed to two extremes of the community?
Oh, I think both. Both things are true.
Yeah.
So there has been a change.
Yes, totally.
It definitely was mostly bros. Douchey
Yeah.
bros is funny.
A lot of white guys.
A lot of
a
white
lot.
guys.
Yeah.
A lot. And over the years, yeah, like I think more people have found improv. And that's great. However, I still think there are pockets of improv that are like still just all douchey bros, and then people who are inclusive. So it's great. Like a lot of my work in the last 10 years was basically just how do we make improv more inclusive, and it's on the backs of a lot of like folks who have advocated for like practices like doing check-ins, right?
Love a check-in.
We love a check-in. So like before a rehearsal, or like before a show or before an improv class, you just check in with your crew just to see what people's boundaries are, as opposed to before where it's like everything is okay. You don't know the people that you're performing with, so it's improv, right?
Anything goes, and that can lead to some actually like uncomfortable and like potentially dangerous situations.
Yeah, because sometimes people are going for a laugh and they make a fast decision, and that decision can be like kind of weird or invasive. Like I've been fully spit on by people on stage before.
Yep.
And they apologized afterwards. Like they didn't mean to. It wasn't like aggressive, but they went for the joke, and like they that's something that we hadn't talked about. Please don't spit on me.
And that's kind of good across the board rule. Don't spit on people on stage.
But that's one example of like if you had been going for a joke and you went to kiss someone, some people will be fine with that and some people won't.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that discussion never happened 10 years ago.
So there's a lot of cool like practices now that really make the place more inclusive. But it's an active choice, right?
Yep.
So anyone can do improv. It's literally you make everything on the spot. You don't need a prop. You don't even need a stage, really.
Yep. Nope.
So anyone can do it. So there are corners of improv that are very like still douchey and bro-y and
not very safe feeling
not
for
very
a lot
safe
of people.
feeling. Yeah, so it's important to support the spaces that work hard to make sure it's inclusive, because it's still a battle.
Yeah. And I think in any community, no matter what the community is, you're going to find cliques. You're going to find people who like to just bunch with their own and be a bit exclusive from everyone. But I think that also hopefully isn't going to dissuade people from trying to be part of the community, because there's a lot of other people in the community who are very open and excited to play with you and excited to explore with you and excited to, get up on stage and try things with consent. Consent is so important.
And I feel like that diversity too is not just like for the sake of itself. It's also just good stagecraft, because like I truly find that shows are more interesting and more dynamic when you have a varied perspective, when you have different skill sets, when you have like people who play differently and have different backgrounds. Like it's just more interesting, and the work is often just better. When you have like 4 guys named Rick and they're all wearing flannel and they're all saying the exact same thing,
Just go say Rick,
Pokemon style.
And
that's how improvisers are.
Right, and every single woman is this.
Oh yeah, they have a side ponytail. Please, if you take anything from this other than don't call sketches skits, if you are ever playing a woman on stage and you are not a woman, just don't do the ponytail grab.
Don't like touch your hair. That's like a very cliche move.
It's a very cliche move. Guess what? Women, just people. Just be like, I'm a woman, and play a normal person. You can do it. I believe in you.
These are little pet peeves that
I
think most other people, when we're just sitting here being like, and here's another thing you shouldn't do.
No, but don't do this.
But also love it, we say.
No, I mean, I think it's important to understand where you're going into community, that there are lots of different aspects to them all, but I think that you can find your place within it.
Yeah, I do think it's improved immensely, though, over the years.
Yeah, and I know that, DEI is a hot 3 letters right now in the world, but it is really important. I think when you look at what those letters actually mean, inclusivity, that's beautiful. Equity, oh my God. Don't we all want equity? Okay, Kaya, stop laughing at me.
Don't we love equity?
Diversity. You get so many different perspectives. If all people on stage were all 43-year-old white women who only talk about Sailor Moon, that'll be fun for 3 minutes. And then so boring.
I don't know. I would watch that.
Yeah, actually,
one-woman Sailor Moon show.
Right.
Coming summer 2025 in Toronto. Come watch my one-woman Sailor Moon show.
I love it.
I'm not preparing anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think that comment comes from the larger conversation of like older comedians saying that DEI has ruined or wokeness has ruined comedy.
Yeah, it's just not funny. You can't be funny anymore.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's like there are still consequences to what you say or do. So if people are offended by that, that's what happens. That means the joke, that means that you didn't get away with your joke.
Yeah, totally.
That's okay. Failure is okay. We love failure. Try again.
The audience doesn't owe you laughter just because you're on stage.
Yeah.
I really truly think like I remember there was a big discussion a while back of like, oh, so we can't do accents anymore. We can't like, oh, so I as a white guy can't do a Jamaican accent anymore. Is that not okay? And it's like, well, here's the thing. Like the same reason that you don't turn your back to the audience is the same reason you don't make jokes that are going to isolate them. That's good stagecraft.
Well, and also, if you're going to do a Jamaican accent, are you doing an authentic Jamaican accent or are you doing a stereotype of an accent along with a laundry list of stereotypes? Maybe don't do that one. But if you genuinely have an incredible Jamaican accent and you're just playing a character, like that is a different discussion potentially. But also, just don't do accents, man. You don't need to. You don't need to.
I mean, if you get away with it.
If you can get away with it. My favorite is when you're on stage and you're like, you know, where am I from? And they're like, whatever, Ethiopia. And I'm like, hi, I'm from Ethiopia. That's a favorite move because they want you to be uncomfortable on stage and don't let them.
That is like more recently. That's one of my favorite things is like people being endowed.
Yeah,
which is like when someone else like gives you sort of like a character trait.
Yeah.
With something that they would be uncomfortable playing, and it's just played the most neutral way. People squirming on stage is very funny.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I love it.
Getting trapped in that and then having to work around it is very fun to watch.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this, but what is the nerdiest thing you've done in relation to your fandom of improv?
Oh, is it that I work at an improv theater?
Yeah,
You don't just work at one, Alia.
And per what?
You run one.
Oh, yeah.
You're in charge, remember?
I am in charge of
boss.
this improv theater. Yes, that's pretty nerdy.
Yeah.
I would say every single Monday meeting is like, it's an improv grade.
You do come into every single meeting and be like, I just saw this improv last week. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's everything I think about all the time. And it's all I love. It's great.
It's great. It's lovely.
Great.
Yeah. But probably the nerdiest improv thing I'm about to do it.
Move to Edmonton.
Oh my God, I wish. The mecca of improv. No, it's, I think I'm going to take all of the classes all over again.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? I love that. I think about that sometimes. Like, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm going to do it and I'm going to journal about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love
take
that.
improv classes again.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss like when you're doing it a really long time, I think you kind of get like lost into the world a bit occasionally and you kind of lose that excitement when you first start improv. I'd love to get that back, just to be playing there in person with people.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, I've got a little game for you.
Okay.
We'll have to do a mini game here. So I've got some improv terms that people may or may not be familiar with, and I want you to explain it like we're five, like in just simple words. Okay, first one, blocking.
When you say no to someone's offer.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, when you're 5?
No, you don't have to.
Simply.
Simply.
Oh, it's when you
No. Don't need to do that.
Not like you're five.
That's how I talk to 5-year-olds.
They probably love that.
Okay, what is a blackout?
A blackout is when the lights go out. And it's usually like the end of the scene. Usually at the funniest line at the end of the scene.
Beautiful.
What about a beat?
Oh, a beat is oh my God, do I know what a beat? I know what a beat is. A beat is like kind of like a pillar of the scene. It's like a moment, like a significant moment of the scene.
What about,
right?
Yeah. What's a sweep?
A sweep is when you like end someone, usually in an improv scene, it's like someone runs across to end the scene that's currently happening.
Yeah.
Also sometimes called an edit.
Yeah.
An edit.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm being tested.
You are.
You're
right.
not. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
shoot. We
thriving.
had different answers.
Thriving.
We are not in agreement. What about this game of the scene?
Oh, a game of the scene is literally like if you find If you find a game in the scene, game of the
This is a tough one to describe for sure.
Right?
Yeah, I've set you up badly.
It's sort okay, a game of the scene, it's sort of like when you find something interesting and you can think of like a series of jokes that are similar in that format and that you can just keep heightening it.
Yeah.
That's sort of the game of the scene.
Yeah, a repeated action, I
Yeah.
Thank
suppose,
you.
that
Yes.
as it gets more intense becomes funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa, that one was tough.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, like, people take whole classes to understand
Yes.
the premise of Game of the Scene.
Yeah.
Some classes are called game of the scene, and that's all you learn.
Yeah, totally.
Heightening.
Oh, heightening is when you make a choice and then you repeat that choice like in a larger, bigger, more intense way. And those choices could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you could heighten like an emotion. So it's sort of like when you're in love with someone or you're feeling like sexy. Why is that the easiest one? Yeah, okay, whatever. So it's like if you're feeling sexy, you're like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. And you heighten that to be sexier. You'd be like, oh, that's nice. You know what I mean? Was that creepy?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
No.
I take that back.
No, you don't have
No, it's good. I feel like the way I try and think of it is always just like if you have a stressed out character and you're representing that with them drinking coffee, you start with an espresso, you move on to like a complicated
eye.
latte, and then you're moving up to a red eye with 5 shots in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the premise of
Yeah.
heightening. Is just like how much bigger and weirder can this get, right?
Yeah, that was the best way to say it.
I don't think it was the best way to say it.
Sexy.
I kind of like the moaning
I like
personally.
the moment.
How about endowing or endowment?
Oh, it's endowing is usually when someone else, I guess, chooses an offer for you. So like when you endow a character on someone. So I'd be like, oh, Steph loves Sailor Moon.
That's what's true.
Yeah.
That's what's real.
That's just
I accept, and I will become Sailor Moon. This summer 2025, Stephanie Malik's one woman improv show.
Yeah, but I chose that for Steph, so I've endowed Steph.
Yeah, so you can give someone an offer of being like, well, you're a janitor, you love cleaning stuff up, or like you're a scientist, you've been trying to go to the moon forever, like, and you just need to roll with that.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is when you step into a scene and you're like, I know exactly what I'm going to be to help this scene out, and they're like, hi, Grandma, and you're like, fuck,
I guess I'm grandma now. I'm grandma now and forever.
Grandma. That's you can't come in with an idea. You
gotta
gotta
say
just
yes.
say yes. Object work.
Oh,
This is an audio medium.
But those watching on YouTube, you're welcome.
well, object work is like obviously like there aren't props.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mime, basically.
So we usually just act it out.
Yeah, I will say I took mime classes in high school. I had to because I went to a dramatic high school, and I remember thinking at the time, I'm never going to use this. Turns out one of my most used skills from high school.
Man. Kaya kills an object
I
work.
use mime so much
You
now
do.
because of improv.
Yeah.
It's like this is such a rare skill, but
You should watch Kaya pick up a fake coffee cup. It's amazing.
It's fine. It's only fine.
That thing has depth.
But there are some people who do really incredible mime, like Sharjil here in Toronto. Alia Rasul can I saw him once do a whole thing about injecting himself with the flu vaccine, and it was just like so clear what he was doing.
It's
And
magic.
It was just like if only using your hands you can make an entire scene happen. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
It's magic.
A nerdy thing that I did was I used to rehearse doing object work.
That's great.
That was at peak Alia taking classes because I didn't go to theater school.
Me neither.
And one of the cool things about improv is if you want to get into performing arts, I actually find that's the most accessible way to do it.
Yeah, totally.
But because I didn't go to theater school, I kind of wanted to give that to myself. So I just set up a rehearsal time for me to this is how it feels like to write, to cut carrots, feel the board.
Yeah.
Feel the weight of the knife.
Feel the weight of the knife.
It's fun. It's
a
meditative.
really good skill.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, how about we've talked about this a little bit. We talked about herald. But can I give you another one? Armando as a format?
Yeah, Armando is when you do a long form set, which is again like when you're improvising kind of like a play almost, based off of someone telling a story, usually a monologue. Yeah, and so you just sort of take themes from that story and fold that into the various scenes.
Amazing. Status?
Status is like it's like a character trait. So it's how your character holds themselves. Are they high status? So a lot of power, a lot of authority, and or low stat. Actually, Anyway, I'm gonna finish my thought.
Yeah.
But low status is like, are they a little bit shyer, meeker? Status is interesting because like I've definitely had like class status versus like vibe status be completely mixed. So you have like you could have like a vice president who's just so shy and they're technically low status.
Yeah, totally. Like, or if a CEO is like, oh, guys, I'm the CEO. I'm sorry. I know. I'm not Elon Musk. I'm sorry. I know. That's low status, even though they're like very high status.
Yeah. So in the scene, it's like who has the power, who has the gravitas, I guess.
And it can change throughout, and it can be so multi-layered. It's so fun to watch people play with it.
Yeah, I think that's like status and how improvisers like can perceive it is actually a superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something that status, like being able to perceive that and like having that skill helps you with conversations, negotiations.
Yeah.
So that's a skill that comes up a lot.
Yeah. How about this one? Montage.
Montage. I guess it's like, a series of scenes. A series of scenes, sort of related. I guess the best way to describe it, like through film and TV, is, like your makeover montage.
Your training montage.
Your training montage. But yeah. Series of scenes.
And my last one, we've already talked about a bit. Yes, and.
Oh, yes, and? Okay.
I feel like we talked about it a lot.
We did, but we're wrapping it up. Yes, and Micaiah.
I mean, yes.
And
yes, and yes is agreeing to what's happening and then adding to it, adding your flavor to it.
Beautiful. You passed the test.
Yay!
I get to keep
You get to
my
keep
job.
doing improv.
I guess
That's what this was about. Yeah.
I know. I'm the one who chose the topic, but then I was like, wait, if I don't do a good job, will it tank the company?
No.
She doesn't even know what she's talking about.
That's not true.
No.
Speaking of yes and, is there anything you would like to add to this? Any final hot takes or thoughts that you would like to give to people who are maybe know a lot of about improv, maybe don't know anything at all? What's your final thought on that?
My main thing is that improv genuinely changed my life. It actually did get me that promotion. It actually helped me, keep friendships and find a new community. So at the very least, please try it. Yeah. Try it. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We wouldn't be doing this podcast quite literally if it were not for improv.
We wouldn't have met if it hadn't been for improv. Like almost everything I owe in my current life is thanks to improv.
So we like it, I guess is the point.
We like it. And you might too. Well, at the end of every episode, we like to share our micro fandoms of the week, which we're going to do in just a moment. But before we do, here's some ways you can connect with us. This show's always going to be free, as we said, but you can show your support in many different ways, including your money ways. Head on over to patreon.com/The Fandom Show, where you can get access to our episodes early, submit questions, enjoy the Nerds Letter, get the patron podcast, The Fan Club, where we watch movies one of us loves and the other has never seen. Patreon.com/The Fandom Show. You can also find us on social media at Fandom Show Pod. We're on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. That's it. Maybe one day another one. If you really need us on Blue Sky, tell us, but I'm not going over there. It's confusing and I'm old. But come over there or go to thefandomshow.com to send us a message.
If you want, you can say yes and to us as a podcast,
Whoa.
and you can tell all of your nerdiest friends about us or your regular friends. Just tell everyone, because the more people you tell, the more people find out about this, and the more people will learn about a new fandom that they love, which is wonderful. So you can really help us by doing that, or by going to your podcast provider of choice, whatever it is, do a little rate, review, subscribe, put down one-word review if you want. It really helps more people find us. It makes us easier to search, and it means that more people get access to us, and that is wonderful. You can also check us out. We have merch. You can head on over to tpublic.com/stores/thefandomshow/ and snag our faces
you don't
on.
have to say that slash.
Yeah, but it's there. So, and snag our faces on your favorite things like shirts, mugs, and you're not going to believe it, more.
Wow.
And you can find us on the From Superheroes Discord, where you can meet other fans, or you can hit us up directly. Also, our theme song is by the wonderful Yusu Kim.
Yokaya.
Yeah.
What you fanning out about right now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What are you hyped about?
I recently, finally, after years, literally years, finished Mass Effect. I started playing it when I first got COVID in the pandemic. So
God.
it's been years.
It's been a hot moment.
A friend of the podcast, Travis
Former
Ryans, former guest, gave me a copy of the Legendary Edition. I've been working my way through it very, very slowly over several years, and I have finally finished it. And I gotta say, what a ride! It is a terrific game. It's super fun.
Who'd you romance?
I romanced several people.
Whoa.
I romanced a different person every game.
Okay.
You can listen to our Mass Effect episode to hear how I accidentally romanced somebody in the first game by being too nice to him.
BioWare's tricky like that.
Yeah,
it's tricky like that.
I'm sorry, Caden, but you're never going to be my. He did not make it through my last game. Anyway, that's not the point. But I romanced a different person for every game, so much variety. But yeah, it is a great game series. I really, really, really loved it. What about you, Steph?
It's White Lotus. I got too impatient trying to do the theme song. I can't stop thinking about White Lotus. As of recording, we have one episode left to come out. I'm losing my mind. I'm on the subreddit every single day. I think about who's going to die. I think about all the characters. They're all so messed up. I think this season, I've loved every season of this show so far, but this season, for some reason, something about it, I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh, phenomenal season.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal
It's really,
season.
really, really
If
good.
you are waiting until all the episodes are out, by the time this episode's out, they'll probably all be out. So go watch it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing with yourself?
Mike White just doesn't miss, man.
He doesn't miss.
He doesn't miss. Three
He's-
seasons, no miss.
Oh, anyways, it's such a fun show. The acting is phenomenal. The stakes are so tense all the time, but he just sustains that tension through every episode and then just heightens it a little bit each episode to the point where you're my body is clenched every time we watch it. Okay, enough. Alia, what are you fanning out about?
Oh, I was going to say, I heard that whole season's improvised.
Yeah, man. I don't
Mike
doubt that
White?
Parker Posey, a lot of that character has improvised lines thrown in there.
I mean, she's famous for being in Christopher Guest films, so
Which are mostly improvised.
which are mostly improvised. Yeah.
So what am I fanning about? Tinned fish.
Sorry, what?
Tinned fish.
Tinned fish. Okay. I heard tint fish, and I was like, "Is this an app? This sounds like an app."
Pink salmon.
Like
pink salmon.
fish in a can.
Yeah.
Okay, which
Cool.
ones?
Like smoked mackerel.
Ooh,
What?
Ooh,
God,
fancy.
Amazing smoked mackerel. I'm a fan of a sardine, either in olive oil or in tomato.
She likes a
In
sardine.
tomato.
Yeah.
You can get that in a can?
Yeah, it's like that on toast, and then the smoked mackerel. Turn that into a dip. Mwah.
Tasty.
It's amazing, and so I'm obsessed about what are the other ways I can prepare these things.
Yo, I'm also gonna suggest smoked oysters. Delicious.
Oh, okay.
Couple bucks. Just salty goodness.
Yeah, I'm preparing for Armageddon.
Yeah, just you're preparing your palate now.
Yeah.
So in the future, we'll be like, "Oh, I love canned foods."
Yeah.
Someone's like, do you want some fresh fish? You'd be like, what the fuck? No.
There's a
Garbage.
silver lining.
And that lining is made of aluminum.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, Alia, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you? What do you want to plug?
Oh my God, that I was nervous.
The Phantom Show.